Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we're doing around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological, mental health, emotional health, and coaching paradigm. We do that as often as we can, usually several times per week. We've got over 1,300 of these available for your listening pleasure. We try to add as often as we can. This is signs that you may be dealing with emotional emptiness. If you are dealing with things like depression, emptiness, difficulty in establishing or maintaining healthy, boundary filled relationships, would love to be of assistance to you in any way that I can. Please feel free to reach out at PO Perception on Twitter and or in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either one will get you in touch with me or a member of my team, and then we can move from there. What are some signs that you may be dealing with emotional emptiness? The first is lack of consistency in relationships, whether they be emotional relationships like friendships, mentorships, romantic connections, or the establishment or attempted establishment of future relationships. The inability to feel socially connected is going to leave you feeling emotionally empty. Human beings are social creatures by design, and thus having a continual nature of connecting with other people consistently and connectedly is one of the most important things that any person can do. When a person feels they do not have access to such opportunities, there are realities in a manner that ultimately leads us to be off kilter and off base. Being social creatures, the need for social connectivity is is valuable. However, overdependence then also becomes a problem. When you are overdependent on the approval of others, that means you're willing to bend yourself into many emotional contortions in order to be able to maintain some level of social connectivity so that you can begin to have continued relationships with them. Now, in the beginning of a relationship, especially if you're trying to build rapport, this isn't necessarily an all bad thing to do because you want to show flexibility. However, if you are constantly bending to the emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, physical needs of another person, eventually you lose leverage for them to value you in the way that you want to be valued. And if you're constantly making all the sacrifices, you're going to feel as though you're the only one who ever makes any sacrifices, thereby feeling that in fact you have constant struggle, consistent difficulty, and you're constantly feeling alone and or in a rough mental emotional spot. When you begin to kind of get things going in a more directed and healthy relationship, you'll begin to see that people usually, when they have pure motive, don't try to leverage people in that manner. And the person who is trying to leverage you is trying to get over for their own personal benefit, isn't necessarily concerned with, worried about, or caring about how this affects you or the continuation and duration of the relationship. The next thing to consider is you will become, if you're empty inside, you will often become emotionally bored on a consistent basis. The boredom comes from the simple fact that you don't have enough mental and emotional stimulation as it relates to the quality of relationship that you are trying to create. Therefore, when you don't have that stimulation, you're going to look for it continually and also create opportunities for the relationship to deepen based on the value that you believe that you can have um, you know in the relationship. um, that's that's one of the that's one of the things um, that you've got to consider, making sure that your relationship is on the focus of getting where you want it to go and what you want to do with it is one of the most um, uh, valuable things that you can do. And also knowing that if you're feeling empty on a continual basis, reaching out for help is important. Emptiness can also lead to emotional downplaying or numbness. This is where it's very difficult to switch emotions and or that your emotions are not being validated and or feeling like they're leading anywhere, and so you may play them down. Ultimately, when playing emotions down happens over a continued consistent level of time, then you begin to have difficulty in expressing any and all emotions, and or you may not feel it worth it to express your emotions, which then leads to the last in the series of potential challenges, which is continual emotional and social isolation. Social isolation leading to the continuation of the cycle of feeling like you don't belong, and so that becomes a continual challenge. So hopefully this is helpful. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.